Does a woman have a penis?
This is such a ridiculous conversation. Why you want to focus on what is inside people's pants is weird to me.
No, because what's inside people's pants can cause me to be raped in my own private space.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Julian Discourse. Have you ever heard something so absurd you had to pause and ask, am I the crazy one? For years, the left relied on us being too polite to argue back when they told us up is down. But in this clip, that polite silence ends. Watch an activist try to dismiss a mother's genuine safety concerns about female-only spaces, only for Laila Cunningham to look this progressive ideology in the eye and absolutely dismantle it with raw, unfiltered common sense. Hit subscribe and let's get into it.
Do that all the time with women. 1 in 4 women will suffer sexual harassment in their lives. So I think this is a really, really distracting conversation. We use single-sex spaces all the time for trans people. We have shared spaces. If you use an airport toilet, any sort of toilet on public transport, most of the time, these are shared spaces. There is no data suggesting that trans women or trans men are hanging out in toilets waiting to attack people. Sport, I think, is a different conversation. Bracket that off. But this guidance is going to be impractical, it's going to be unworkable, and it is going to encourage people to be targeting and seeking out trans people, policing bodies in a way that I think is entirely inappropriate and totally unhelpful.
Laila.
So I've been in a bar where I've been harassed by a man. Like you say, they get in your space. And I'd run to the women's toilet for refuge.
Okay.
And the horror of thinking that that man can follow me into the women's toilet and I cannot escape
But
him.
this doesn't happen.
Because it's a woman's toilet. But if he was allowed in, it would. And actually, with all due respect, I have a huge issue with men using women's toilets. I wouldn't complain to the local authority because I'm like, what the hell are they going to do? I speak to loads of women. I'm the mother of children. Women do not want men in their space.
But this isn't men, this is trans women.
Some of them have not transitioned. They self-recognize as men, sorry.
So can I ask you a question? When have you ever been in a toilet and thought there's a trans woman in this toilet and I feel uncomfortable?
Many times.
Really?
Yes, many times. Yes, I have. And you might not believe it. It's, as you would say, my reality, and it happens all the time. Women fought very, very hard, number one, to be recognised as a woman and for our spaces. For me, this is men banging on their chest and saying, we want access to everything. There is a woman and there is a man. And what I find pretty galling is that we have a government right now that needed a Supreme Court to tell it that a woman's a woman.
You're misunderstanding the ruling.
What did we do before all this trans
we didn't have any problems.
Well, exactly. We didn't have any problems before. 10 years.
But the trans people have existed this entire time.
And so
this is a fixation on trying to define biological sex.
No, you know very well, as much as I do, is that they have made it a battle to fight. Who
is this they?
You don't know how many horrific messages I get. You're cisgender, you're anti-trans. They are a militant group who go after anyone who has the audacity to simply say a biological truth that a woman is a woman.
You can say a biological truth. That doesn't mean we have to have the very restrictive regulations that are being...
What's restrictive about that? What's restrictive about a man goes into his toilet and a woman... It's how
that is what currently happens. What you are seeking to do is prevent people who identify as women or have transitioned...
But they're not
using
women. I could self-identify as a camel.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Doesn't this come down to women being uncomfortable that a trans man, or rather a trans woman, who has not undergone transition, is in a female toilet and therefore, to be blunt about it, has a penis?
But we do not... What I'm suggesting in this issue is we do not have any evidence across the UK to suggest that allowing trans men or trans women into the appropriate single-sex space actually endangers people. There is no evidence.
There is evidence, but there's not a lot. These incidents do not happen regularly every day where a woman in a single space area is assaulted by a trans man, but it has happened.
But what? So point me to the data. I would really love to see the data on this, because when I have tried looking for data on either side, you are not able to
Not
find...
everything is about empirical data.
Well, I'm afraid it is when you're trying to deny people access and rights and rolling back rights that people have fought
Not three at once.
Everything, if you are going to deny people's rights, if you're going to change the law to deny people access to spaces, I do think it should be evidence-led. I don't think it should be based on vibes and I felt this and I felt that.
Why
it
not?
should be... Why not? Where does that end?
Why can't a woman say, I do not want a man in my space? You talk about...
But this isn't a man, and if you're being called transphobic, you should reflect on the language that you're using.
If you're a penis, you talk about removing people's rights, correct? You see it as removing trans rights.
Well, I don't just see it, it is.
What about the right of a woman to not want to have a man with a penis in a private space with her? Does that
She's
right
not
count?
in the toilet cubicle with you.
Does that changing room, communal changing room, does that right matter to you? Why does the trans right matter more than a woman's rights?
First of all, I would say that person is a woman, and second of all, I am saying we should not be prioritizing.
So a woman can have a penis.
We should not be prioritizing people who want to completely,
we should not be prioritizing women.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well,
you are trying to get me to say something that I am not saying because it serves your agenda. What I am saying is that the bringing in of this regulation today is impractical, is unenforceable, and it is going to intensify anti-trans sentiment in the UK.
Does a woman have a penis?
This is such a ridiculous conversation. Why you want to focus on what is inside people's pants is weird to me.
No, because what's inside people's pants can cause me to be raped in my own private space.
Honestly,
it's a fact.
Women are raped in their households all the time by people they know.
By people with a penis.
Women are not raped in toilets by trans women.
By people with a penis.
Michael, do you wish to add to this debate?
I just don't know what I think. I really don't. I thought... Hope he doesn't come to me. Yeah, it is unusual. I thought, hope by the time he comes to me, I will have worked out what I think.
It'll be ad time.
2 points, really. In terms of lavatory cubicles, trains, restaurants, aeroplanes, you can have the same space used by everybody.
They're already unisex.
Yeah. And there are a lot of restaurants in London where there are. But the trouble is changing rooms and so on. Seems to me the only answer there, you've got to have 4 changing rooms rather than 2.
Well, or do what my local gym has done. They've gone from a sort of like space where everybody just gets changed and showered, sort of in the communal area. They now have individual cubicles, but then not all buildings will have the space to do that.
And the cost of doing that is huge. Yeah. And frankly, there are better things to spend that money on, I'm afraid, even though the trans issue is hugely important. Local councils can't afford to change all their swimming pools and their gyms and so on. So I'm not helping here much.
Well, you've brought us up to the ad break. I thought we were going to get 2 questions into this section, but things took a turn, didn't they? It's 8:45.
It is incredibly maddening to be lectured by out-of-touch activists who demand empirical data just to validate a woman's basic right to physical safety. For a decade, the left has demanded we completely reorganize society based entirely on subjective feelings and vibes. Yet, the second a biological woman asks for a male-free space, they suddenly turn into rigorous statisticians. It's a bad faith trick designed to gaslight normal people into silence. But Laila Cunningham refused to be silenced, and her pushback represents exactly where we are today in 2026. This isn't just a random UK debate, it's a response to a top-down institutional agenda. Look at the timeline. Back in April 2024, the Biden administration radically rewrote Title IX, effectively erasing half a century of civil rights protections for biological women in American schools. They forced districts to allow biological males into girls' locker rooms and sports, threatening to pull federal funding if parents dared to complain. These elite politicians push these policies because they live in heavily guarded, affluent bubbles. They never have to share a vulnerable public space, yet they label anyone who objects as a bigot. But the tide has officially turned. Voters in 2026 are exhausted from being lied to, and the polite compliance the left relied on has evaporated. Laila proved that the progressive playbook completely collapses the moment you stop apologizing for acknowledging biological reality. Thanks for watching Julian Discourse. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts below. See you next time.